9 months with Sophia felt like stepping into a dream I never wanted to wake up from. We clicked immediately, sharing everything from our love for obscure indie films to our addiction to spicy Thai food. The comfort between us grew so naturally that I started imagining our future together. But there was something odd I noticed recently. Her phone was always face down, always password protected. That Saturday morning, while she showered, a notification from someone named Jack lit up her screen, and my world shifted. If you are watching this right now, drop a comment letting me know where you are tuning in from. Hit that like button and subscribe to join our community where we share real-life experiences that might help you navigate your own journey. I met Sophia at my friend Aaron's housewarming party last spring. She walked in wearing a vintage concert t-shirt from a band I loved, and I took it as a sign to introduce myself. Our conversation flowed effortlessly that night, and by the end of the party, I had her number and plans for dinner the following weekend. I am Glenn, 27 years old, working as a software engineer at a tech startup in Boston. Before Sophia, I had been through a particularly rough breakup that left me cautious about diving into anything serious. My ex had cheated on me with a coworker, and that experience made me hyper-aware of red flags in new relationships. But Sophia seemed different. Our first few dates were magical in that ordinary way that feels extraordinary when you are with the right person. We talked for hours at a small Italian restaurant on our first date, closing the place down as we discovered our shared passion for travel, similar political views, and compatible life goals. By the third date, I knew I wanted to see where this could go. "You seem different with her," my roommate James commented after meeting Sophia for the first time. "More relaxed, happier." He was right. The careful walls I had built after my last relationship started coming down with Sophia. 3 months in, we had the exclusivity talk. It felt natural, expected, even as we were already spending most weekends together and calling each other every night when apart. "I am not seeing anyone else, and I do not want to," she told me over dinner at my apartment. "I want to be with you, Glenn." I remember the relief washing over me, the excitement about building something real. We began introducing each other to friends and family. Her parents lived in Connecticut, and we drove down for her father's birthday. My mother adored her after they bonded over a shared love of gardening during a Sunday brunch. Our routines intertwined comfortably. Saturday mornings meant brunch at the corner cafe, followed by hikes when weather permitted or museum visits on rainy days. Sunday evenings were reserved for cooking dinner together and watching whatever series we were currently obsessed with. Weeknights often involved game nights, with our growing circle of mutual friends or supporting each other through work challenges. "I got the Henderson account," she announced one evening, rushing into my apartment with a bottle of champagne. Sophia worked in marketing, and this client was a big win for her. I remembered staying up late helping her prepare for that presentation, and seeing her success felt like my own. Similarly, when I got promoted to senior developer, she was the first person I called. She showed up at my office with cupcakes for the whole team. These moments of mutual support and celebration strengthened what I believed was a foundation of trust and partnership. But there were small inconsistencies that I initially dismissed. Sophia would sometimes be vague about certain nights out with friends I had never met. "Just some old college friends," she would say without offering names or details. There were mysterious texts that would come through at odd hours, causing her to smile at her phone, but offer no explanation. When I raised an eyebrow, I noticed she changed her phone password frequently. Once, when I asked to use her phone to look up a restaurant while mine was charging, she hesitated before handing it over, watching intently as I used it. And there was Jack. His name came up occasionally in her stories about the past. My ex Jack and I went there once. Or Jack used to say the same thing. Nothing alarming, just the casual references everyone makes to their history. I never pressed for details, respecting that her past relationships were her business just as mine were my own. In retrospect, I realize I was battling my own internal conflict. Part of me was growing suspicious, recognizing patterns similar to my previous relationship. But another part, perhaps the louder part, wanted desperately to trust her to believe that this relationship was different. I did not want to be the jealous, insecure boyfriend checking up on his girlfriend. I wanted to be better than that. My friends commented on how happy I seemed, how well Sophia and I fit together. Aaron, who introduced us, joked about taking credit for our relationship in his eventual best man speech. These external validations made it easier to silence the nagging doubts. After all, relationships require trust, and I was determined to give her mine. Looking back, I wonder if I was willfully blind, choosing to see only what I wanted to see. Or perhaps these were genuinely subtle signs that would have been easy for anyone to miss. Either way, everything changed that Saturday morning when I saw Jack's name lighting up her phone and curiosity finally overcame my principles about privacy. That Friday night had been perfectly ordinary. Sophia came over after work, carrying takeout from our favorite Thai place. We ate on the couch while streaming a new documentary series about ocean conservation. She seemed slightly distracted, checking her phone more frequently than usual, but I attributed it to work stress. She had mentioned a difficult client earlier that week. "Everything okay?" I asked when her phone buzzed for the third time in 20 minutes. "Just work stuff," she replied, turning the phone face down after responding to the message. "Davis is being impossible about the quarterly report." I nodded, accepting her explanation without question. We continued our evening, finished 2 episodes of the documentary, and headed to bed. In the morning, we lazily woke up around 9, made coffee, and discussed plans for the day. We settled on a farmer's market visit, followed by lunch at a new bistro that had opened downtown. "I'm going to jump in the shower," she said after finishing her coffee. "Can you look up the market hours?" "Sure," I replied, reaching for my phone. Sophia left her phone on the coffee table, something unusual in itself. Typically, it was always within her reach, even for a shower. As I searched for the farmer's market information, her phone lit up with a notification. I glanced over instinctively, not intending to pry, but the preview message caught my attention. "Jack, cannot wait to see you tomorrow. Still our usual spot." My heart dropped. Jack, the ex who appeared in casual conversation. Jack, who was apparently not just a figure from the past. I heard the shower running and knew I had a few minutes. I stared at her phone, battling with myself about what to do. I had never been the type to invade someone's privacy. I believed in trust as the foundation of any relationship. But that message contradicted everything I thought I knew about Sophia and us. The usual spot tomorrow. This wasn't an old message or a casual catch-up between friends. With shaking hands, I picked up her phone. To my surprise, it was unlocked. She must have forgotten to lock it in her hurry to shower. The active chat with Jack was right there on the screen. I took a deep breath and began scrolling. What I saw shattered my world in seconds. The conversation between them spanned months, with regular exchanges that made it clear their relationship had never ended. There were explicit messages that made me physically nauseous. Plans made for times when I was working late. Photos exchanged during evenings, when Sophia claimed to be having dinner with college friends. "Glenn is sweet, but so clueless." One message from Sophia read, dated just 2 weeks ago. "He actually believes I am at a work conference next weekend. Hotel room is already booked." Next weekend. A work conference in New York she had mentioned just yesterday, asking if I could drive her to the train station on Friday. My hands trembled as I continued scrolling, each message worse than the last. Jack asking if she was still planning to break up with me before summer. Sophia responding that she was enjoying the stability I provided while she figured things out with him. My mind raced, replaying moments from our relationship with this new horrible context. The weekends away for work. The nights she was too tired to call. The sudden need for privacy. It all made sense now in the worst possible way. I heard the shower turn off and knew I had to make a decision quickly. Feeling sick but needing evidence, I took screenshots of the most damning conversations and sent them to my own phone. Then I carefully placed her phone back exactly where it had been and sat down, trying to compose myself for the confrontation I knew was coming. Sophia walked out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, hair dripping. She immediately sensed something was wrong. "What is it?" she asked, stopping in her tracks. "You look like you saw a ghost." I took a deep breath, struggling to keep my voice steady. "Who is Jack?" Her face changed immediately. A flash of panic quickly replaced by casual dismissal. "Jack, my ex. What about him?" "You tell me," I said, turning my phone to show her the screenshots I had taken. "Seems like he is a lot more than an ex." Sophia's expression hardened as she realized what had happened. She dropped the casual act and lunged for my phone. "You went through my messages. How dare you invade my privacy like that?" "Your phone was unlocked, and his message popped up," I explained, pulling my phone away from her reach. "But that is not the issue here, Sophia. You have been seeing him our entire relationship. You are planning to meet him tomorrow at your usual spot. You have a hotel booked for next weekend." "Those messages are old," she tried, but the lie was transparent. "They are from today, Sophia. Yesterday. Last week." My voice grew louder despite my attempts to stay calm. "You talked about the work conference you asked me to drive you to." "That is not old." Seeing her denials weren't working, Sophia switched tactics. "Fine. Yes, I have been talking to Jack. We have history, Glenn. It is complicated." "Complicated," I repeated, incredulous. "You are sleeping with him while dating me." "That is not complicated. That is cheating." She rolled her eyes, a gesture so dismissive of my pain that it struck me like a physical blow. "We are just dating. Loyalty is not important." Those words hung in the air between us. Just dating. 9 months together, meeting each other's families, building routines, planning futures. Just dating. "What did you say?" I asked, needing to hear it again to believe it. Sophia shrugged, reaching for her clothes. "Everyone keeps their options open these days, Glenn. Monogamy is outdated. You are being possessive." In that moment, something shifted inside me. The initial pain of betrayal transformed into clarity. This wasn't about Jack, or the messages, or even the lies. It was about fundamental values that Sophia and I clearly did not share. "I need you to pack your things and leave," I said quietly. She stopped mid-motion, finally registering the seriousness in my tone. "What we clearly want different things." I explained, my voice steady now. "Loyalty is important to me. Honesty is important. If you believe those values are outdated, that is your right. But I will not be in a relationship where my partner does not share them." "You are overreacting," she scoffed, but I detected a note of panic. "It is not like we are married." "No, we are not," I agreed. "Which makes this simple. Please take your things and go." Sophia's attitude shifted rapidly as she realized I was serious. The dismissiveness gave way to backpedaling. "Glenn, wait. I did not mean it like that. Jack means nothing to me. It was a mistake. Multiple mistakes over months that you plan to continue." I corrected her. "This is not a heat-of-the-moment thing, Sophia. These are choices you made repeatedly." "I can change," she pleaded, tears suddenly appearing. "I will block his number. I will show you. Please, Glenn, do not throw away what we have over one mistake." "It is not about Jack," I said, feeling strangely calm now that my decision was made. "It is about what you just said. Loyalty is not important to you. It is essential to me. We are fundamentally incompatible." She continued arguing, cycling through anger, tears, and promises as she packed her things. I remained firm, helping her gather items she had left at my apartment over the months, wanting only for this painful process to end. When she finally left, the apartment fell into a silence that was both deafening and welcome. I sat alone on the couch where we had spent countless evenings, feeling empty, but also unexpectedly relieved. The relationship I thought I had never actually existed. It was better to know that now than later. The days following Sophia's departure were a blur of pain and adjustment. My apartment felt impossibly empty. The routines we had built together now stood as painful reminders of what I had lost, or more accurately, what I had thought I had, but never really possessed. Simple things became challenges. The farmer's market we frequented every weekend I couldn't bear to go. The Thai restaurant that delivered our favorite food, I deleted the app from my phone. Even my morning coffee ritual reminded me of her, the way she would grind the beans while I heated the water. Our social circle fractured predictably. Mutual friends felt forced to choose sides. Aaron, who had introduced us, called me the day after. "Sophia told me what happened," he said cautiously. "She said you overreacted to some innocent messages with an old friend." I laughed bitterly. "Did she show you the messages?" "Well, no," he admitted, "but she seemed really upset. I have screenshots," I offered. "If you want to see what an innocent conversation looks like." Aaron declined, but I could hear the doubt in his voice. Over the following weeks, some friends drifted towards Sophia, accepting her version of events. Others sought me out, offering support or simply checking in. These reactions told me everything I needed to know about who my real friends were. Sophia herself tried multiple approaches to reconciliation. First came angry texts accusing me of ruining a good thing over my insecurities. When those went unanswered, tearful voicemails followed, begging for another chance. Finally, she enlisted mutual friends to speak on her behalf, telling them she had made a mistake and wanted to make amends. I maintained no contact, a decision that proved crucial to my healing. Each message or call reopened wounds that were trying desperately to close. Eventually, I blocked her number, finding that the silence, while initially painful, became increasingly peaceful. "Have you considered talking to someone?" James suggested after finding me staring blankly at the television one evening 2 weeks after the breakup. Like a professional, his suggestion led me to therapy, something I had never seriously considered before. Dr. Lo, a calm, insightful woman in her 50s, helped me navigate not just the immediate pain of Sophia's betrayal, but the deeper trust issues stemming from my previous relationship as well. "You show remarkable self-awareness," she noted in one session. "Many people would have stayed in that relationship hoping things would change." "I almost did," I admitted. If she had not said those words about loyalty not being important, I might have believed her promises to change. "Those words were a gift," then Dr. Lowe suggested. "They showed you your incompatibility in values, not just in actions." This reframing helped immensely. Instead of seeing only loss, I began recognizing what I had gained: clarity about my own non-negotiable values and the strength to enforce boundaries around them. As weeks turned into months, I focused on rebuilding. I reconnected with old friends who had fallen by the wayside during my relationship. I resumed abandoned hobbies, joining a local hiking group and returning to the guitar lessons I had paused. I threw myself into work, earning recognition for a project that streamlined our company's main product. Most importantly, I began building a new social circle with people who shared my values. Through the hiking group, I met Daniel and Katrina, a married couple who invited me to their book club. There, I connected with others who valued depth and authenticity in relationships. These new friends knew nothing of Sophia or our history, allowing me to present myself as I was now, not as someone recovering from betrayal. "You seem lighter," my mother commented during one of our weekly calls 3 months after the breakup. "More like yourself." She was right. The initial devastation had given way to something unexpected: gratitude. I was grateful to have discovered Sophia's true character before further entanglement through marriage or children. Grateful to have clarified my own values through the painful experience. Even strangely grateful to Sophia herself for saying those revealing words that made my decision clear. The anger subsided gradually, not through forgiveness exactly, but through a growing indifference. Sophia's actions no longer had the power to hurt me, because they no longer mattered to my life or happiness. This realization brought freedom I had not anticipated. 4 months after our breakup, pieces of information about Sophia's life filtered through our diminished mutual connections. Aaron mentioned casually that she had posted something about a major life change. Curious, despite myself, I checked her public Instagram profile for the first time since our split. The most recent post showed a sonogram image with the caption, "Unexpected journeys ahead. Scared but excited. Number, single mom Toby. Single mom to be." The timing suggested she was about 3 months pregnant. Simple math indicated conception around the time of our breakup. Jack's baby, presumably. But single mom suggested Jack was not in the picture. Aaron confirmed this when I asked him directly. Jack bailed when she told him about the pregnancy, he explained uncomfortably. Apparently, he had a girlfriend the whole time. Sophia did not know. The irony might have been satisfying if it wasn't so sad. Sophia had betrayed me for someone who was simultaneously betraying her. The cycle of dishonesty had come full circle. A week after learning this news, the messages started. First through Instagram, "Can we talk? I really need a friend right now." Then, via mutual friends, "Tell Glenn I made a huge mistake. Ask if he would meet me for coffee." Finally, a handwritten letter arrived at my apartment. "I know I hurt you, but I have changed. What we had was real. Please give me another chance." I didn't respond to any of these overtures. Not out of cruelty, but out of self-preservation and the clarity that comes with distance. Sophia wasn't reaching out because she had suddenly recognized my worth or the value of loyalty. She was reaching out because her other option had disappeared, leaving her alone and pregnant. Then one evening, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Sophia standing there, visibly pregnant, eyes red from crying. "Glenn," she said, her voice breaking. "I know I have no right to be here, but I did not know where else to go." I stood frozen, taking in the sight of her. 4 months had changed her significantly. Beyond the obvious pregnancy, she looked tired, diminished somehow. The confident, always put-together woman I had known was replaced by someone who appeared overwhelmed and desperate. "Can I come in?" she asked when I didn't immediately respond. "Just for a few minutes." Against my better judgment, I stepped aside to let her enter. Not out of any lingering romantic feelings, but from basic human compassion. She was clearly in distress, and despite everything, I couldn't turn her away without at least hearing what she had to say. "Would you like some water?" I offered as she lowered herself carefully onto the couch where we had once spent so many evenings. She nodded gratefully, and I used the moment in the kitchen to compose myself. When I returned with the glass, I sat in the armchair across from her rather than beside her on the couch. The distance was both physical and symbolic. "Thank you for seeing me," she began after taking a sip. "I know this is unexpected." "What do you need, Sophia?" I asked directly, not wanting to prolong what was already an uncomfortable situation. Her eyes filled with tears. "Everything has fallen apart, Glenn. Jack left as soon as I told him about the baby. He blocked my number, told me it was my problem. His girlfriend found out about us and gave him an ultimatum." I nodded, but offered no sympathy. These were consequences of choices she had made. "I made the biggest mistake of my life letting you go." She continued, her hand resting on her belly. "You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it away for someone who never cared about me at all. I am sorry you are going through this," I said, meaning it despite everything. "But I do not see what it has to do with me." "We were good together, Glenn," she insisted, leaning forward. "What I did was terrible. And those things I said, I did not mean them. I was just defensive and scared of losing you, which is exactly what happened anyway." I remained silent, sensing there was more. "I know it is a lot to ask," she said, voice dropping to almost a whisper. "But is there any chance we could try again? You would be such a wonderful father, so much better than Jack could ever be." And there it was. Not just reconciliation she wanted, but a replacement father for her child. My chest tightened at the manipulation inherent in her request, using an innocent unborn child as leverage. "Sophia," I said carefully, choosing my words with intention, "I am truly sorry you are in this difficult situation. Becoming a single parent unexpectedly must be terrifying, and you have my sympathy for that." She nodded eagerly, perhaps mistaking my compassion for weakening resolve. "But I continued, what happened between us cannot be undone. Trust once broken the way you broke it cannot be repaired to what it was before. And to be completely honest, we fundamentally disagreed about something I consider essential in a relationship: loyalty. I have changed, she insisted desperately. Having this baby has changed everything about how I see relationships. I understand now what really matters. I believe that your perspective has shifted, I acknowledged. Crisis often clarifies our values. But my decision is not about punishing you or holding a grudge. It is about recognizing that some things once broken stay broken. So you are saying there is no chance. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Not even for the sake of this baby who needs a father. The emotional manipulation was so transparent. It almost made me angry. But I maintained my composure. Your child deserves parents who genuinely want to be in its life, not someone who felt pressured or manipulated into the role. That would not be fair to anyone, especially not the child. Her expression hardened the vulnerability replaced by a flash of the old Sophia. You are really going to turn away a pregnant woman who made one mistake. What happened to forgiveness? I do forgive you, I said, simply surprising myself with the truth of those words. I genuinely hope you find happiness, and that you and your baby thrive. But forgiveness does not mean returning to a relationship that proved harmful. So, this is it, she asked, standing up with difficulty. You are really choosing to be alone rather than help me when I need you most. I am choosing self-respect. I corrected gently, and you should be choosing what is truly best for your child, not what seems easiest right now. She stared at me for a long moment, tears streaming silently down her face. Finally, she nodded once. I understand. I would not take me back either if I were you. This small acknowledgement of reality felt like the first honest thing she had said since arriving. As I walked her to the door, she turned to me one last time. I really am sorry, Glenn, for everything. You deserved better. So did you, I replied, meaning it. And your child deserves the best from you now. Focus on that. After she left, I sat alone in my apartment, processing the encounter. There was no satisfaction in seeing her suffering, only a quiet confirmation that I had made the right decision both then and now. The Sophia I had fallen for never truly existed, and the real Sophia and I were fundamentally incompatible in ways that mattered deeply. In the months since our breakup, I had rebuilt my life on stronger foundations. My career was thriving with a recent promotion that recognized my increased focus and productivity. My social circle, though smaller, consisted now of genuine connections rather than superficial ones. The therapy sessions with Dr. Lowe had helped me process not just this betrayal but older wounds as well, leaving me more self-aware and emotionally resilient. Most surprisingly, I had discovered contentment in being single, not as a consolation prize or temporary state, but as a valid life choice that allowed for growth and self-discovery. I was open to finding love again someday, but not desperate for it, not willing to compromise my core values for companionship. The experience with Sophia had taught me several invaluable lessons. I learned that self-respect must come before relationship compromise, that loyalty and honesty are fundamental requirements, not optional extras or outdated concepts, that it is better to be alone than to settle for a connection that requires me to diminish myself or my expectations. Perhaps most importantly, I learned that forgiveness is not about excusing actions or reopening closed doors. True forgiveness is releasing the anger and resentment for my own peace while still honoring the boundaries necessary for my well-being. As painful as the journey had been, I found myself grateful for it. Without Sophia's betrayal and those 5 revealing words, loyalty is not important, I might have continued investing in a relationship built on illusion. I might have discovered the truth years later after marriage or children complicated the inevitable separation. Instead, I was free to create a life aligned with my values, open to authentic connection, when or if it appeared. And Sophia perhaps had the opportunity to reevaluate her own priorities as she prepared for motherhood, though that journey was hers alone now. Life rarely delivers learning painlessly. Often, the most important growth comes through experiences we would never choose. But looking back from the other side of hurt, I could see how necessary the painful lesson had been, how it had clarified what I truly valued and the kind of life I wanted to build. I hope that somewhere out there, each of you finds the courage to stand by your values even when it means walking away from something that feels comfortable. Remember that loyalty in relationships isn't outdated, it's fundamental. Self-respect isn't selfish, it's necessary. And sometimes the hardest decisions lead to the greatest peace. If my story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences. Share this video with someone who might need to hear that standing firm on their boundaries is an act of self-love, not selfishness. Drop a comment about a time when you had to make a difficult choice that ultimately led to growth. Thank you for listening. And remember that sometimes the end of one chapter is exactly what we need to begin writing a better one.